You're listening to ChainLeak, the crypto news podcast with your host, Joshua Roomsberg. Follow and subscribe today.
Welcome to the ChainLeak podcast. I'm your host, Joshua Roomsberg. Today's episode is sponsored by the XDC Network. Today's guest, the co-founder of XDC, Ritesh. Welcome to the show, brother.
Thank you for having me on your show. And I'm really very excited to share about XDC networks. And any questions by the community or by your team members, feel free to ask me.
Okay, so first, give the listeners a breakdown of XDC Network and what you guys are looking to accomplish in the industry.
So if you look at, like XDC network, and we started like this initiative almost 6 years before. And we observed smart contract is going to be the future with the blockchain technology. But we realized, the previous network had many problems, especially proof of work. And that we realized long back that is going to be a problem even in future as well. So if you look at the recent updates from the Ethereum network, they also shifted from proof of work to like proof of stake based network. So energy was the major issue even that time. But if you look at the XDC network, we kept 3 points in mind. One is like about transaction per second. So we achieved so far 2000 plus transaction per second. Other point was about decentralization. And we never if you look at the philosophy of a blockchain, it's about a decentralization. Many people they come together and trying to build something, and this is the beauty of a blockchain network and a smart contract. So we try to keep network very decentralized, compared to if you go to many top networks, they hardly has 20 nodes just to get more scalability. But this is not long-term strategy. Long-term blockchain is a decentralization. And our network is very stable since last 4 years. So the same fundamentals, scalability, energy efficiency, higher transaction per second. And if you look at the gas fee, day one, we always kept almost zero gas fee. So any developers ecosystem, they wanted to start their ventures and they want to build on existing network, then it's almost free for them. So they can just come and deploy their contract and they can build their own revenue model. Even I give you a very small example. I met someone way back in 2017, and he says, I am running a kind of a placement portal, and every time I need to edit a record, I'm spending around $40-50, which is not feasible for my network. Yeah. So I thought, it's good. So we get into the various hackathon and we realize that gas should be very minimum. It gives some kind of a feasibility to layer 2.
Now, you spoke about the difference between XDC network and a variety of other blockchains. Could you break down, do you have a amount of nodes that are on the network, whether they are active or could be active potentially in the future?
See, right now, as a founder, we set up hardly initial 3-4 nodes. And right now we have 350 plus validator as well as a backup node, which is a quite good numbers. And we started initially with very less numbers of node, but gradually we increased the node. If you look at with last update, we went up to 108 validators node. In future, with XD Post 2, we are planning to make it more as well. So we are testing more numbers, whether it can be 500, 800 or 1000 node. But we wanted to give a scale from a master node side as well.
So you want the potential for more validators on the network?
Yeah, we need a more. See, as I told you, blockchain is all about more people. It's a more validators, more community members, more use case. Then it's going to be a long-term fundamental story. Otherwise, I set up a master node, 5 nodes, and I say I have networks. It's not going to work in future. So we are going to the basics of our blockchain networks, where more numbers of validators, more numbers of participation, and it gives more scale to the network itself.
Why do other leading blockchain networks go with a smaller amount of validators or nodes on the network?
So there is a major problem with the blockchain technologies. Like it's from a protocol side. We are quite well in protocol side, and we achieved all these numbers after like few years of research. Other networks, they have minimum numbers of nodes. The only reason because of fast transaction, and they can achieve a scalability. Short
Okay.
term, it's a very good solution, but it's not matching with the basic fundamental of a blockchain.
Basically, the more faster transactions and scalability, the less decentralized that network will become, right?
100%. That's true.
Okay.
Technically, also, like, because every time, whenever there is a transaction or networks, it's right with all the nodes. So, more numbers of node, it might take like additional second or 2 seconds
Yeah.
to write all the transactions.
But you have the potential to be more decentralized. That's what I like more. Instead of a big thing that we heard about a few months back was the validators or nodes on Ethereum and how they are relatively centralized. And people
Yeah.
had an issue with that. But the more validators you have on the network, even if it takes that extra second or two, you have more people validating the network overall, making the network more decentralized. I feel like that's more beneficial to the community as well.
Yeah, definitely. I totally agree with you. And we always sticks, the best part is we get all these suggestions from communities. Like, what is the best way out? Like, we meet people, and we are not creating some kind of hypes, and not having a very huge marketing budget. But we are focusing towards like to be with the people, to be with the industry, and develop a use case with the industry.
Now, what do you feel is the biggest difference between XDC and a variety of other Ethereum virtual machine networks like Smart Chain, Polygon, or Avalanche? How do you guys compare?
So if you look at, I really like every like chain, they have certain aspect. They want to promote a specific agenda. But if you look at XDC network, we are totally decentralized, and we are stick to the fundamentals of a decentralization. And we want more people to participate. That's the only part we want to focus on when it comes to decentralization. So there is
Okay.
only way out, like more people, more community, then it becomes more and more centralization, decentralization. And we don't want to go anything which is beyond the basics of a blockchain. So that's why decentralization, you can say. And carbon neutral, or like if you look at low energy consumption, was even like in our initial white papers as well. Now many blockchain network, they are going for these carbon neutral or like low energy consumption kind of consensus, but we
Yeah.
had from day one itself.
Now, unlike other networks, the XDC network has a focal point, a niche that you guys are looking to attract. International trade and finance. What was the reasoning you wanted to focus on that area, particularly for business with the XDC network?
Yeah. So if you look at the major use case of a blockchain network, supply chain, trade finance coming, like it's one of the biggest use case. For example, like I was reading a paper of Asian Development Bank's report, and it says only in Asia there is a gap of $1.5 trillion deficit for the financing when it comes to a
Wow.
trade finance, and which is increasing day by day. Even after the COVID time, it's increased a lot. Now, see, there is a problem with the trade deficit between two country. It will create a problem with the employment. It will create problem with the growth of the country. It's again create problem with the GDP and everything. And blockchain has element which can create a trust network between the buyers and sellers. It can act as a like neutral party without any intermediary. And this gap is widening day by day, and we see that blockchain can fill up this gap. I'm not talking about 100% like gap filling, but even if we capture like say 2-3% of a gap, then it's also not only it's a fundamentally a right reason to be into a blockchain industry, and blockchain industry has a use case when it comes to like trade financing.
Do you feel the for that overall situation for these countries, do they have X amount of funds tied up in these, and that's what you see you could fill the void on that?
Yeah, so especially
they have a certain amount of money tied up within these international trade deals, and you guys could tokenize that.
Yeah, so there is a like many aspect. One is a real world asset tokenization, and in trade finance it can be even an invoice, or it can be even a like payment obligations.
Okay.
It can be like commodity as well. So we are tokenizing on a same level. We are on a path of a tokenization, and financing is the biggest problem, especially for SME, because they don't have proper credit history. Like some countries, they don't want to fund. Like if you are dealing with some different countries, and there is a wide problem with the FX. You know, especially after this COVID, you will find a lots of volatility in a forex market as well. So
Right.
we are trying to like provide a neutral platform, and we are very excited. If you look at like few weeks down the line, you will see like many players they started providing real world financing using XDC blockchain network.
Now, where do you see yourself standing as far as the XDC network in international trade and finance right now? Do you have any use cases for this yet?
Yeah, so if you like see, we are very grounded people and we are with the industry. So even if you are meeting like trade finance department from the largest bank, they will speak about XDC network.
Okay.
And there are multiple use cases, especially we are focusing on the real world asset tokenization. It can be, as I mentioned, it can be invoice tokenization, it can be like payment obligation tokenization. And if like you are meeting people and if you are talking in trade finance about the blockchain, most of the people they are talking to us, they are building on us. And a few years down the line, we will be only the leader when it comes to a trade finance.
Now, when you talk about tokenization of assets, I've also heard of Comtech and the way they have brought gold to the XDC network. Could you speak on that and how that came about?
Yeah, so Comtech Gold is a very exciting like use case where we are doing tokenization of real world commodities.
Okay.
And see, right now, say Joshua is holding 5 kg of gold,
Yep.
and you want to travel from one country to another country, you cannot travel with 5 kg of gold.
Right.
Here, like safety reason, many countries they don't have safety norms as well. You cannot keep like gold at home. There are like
Yep.
many problem with the security side as well. But imagine that you have a gold with trusted custodians, government custodians. Your gold is lying with the custodians, and you have a token inside your wallet.
You
You can
take a,
move it
you
freely.
take away that risk aspect as an individual user.
See, risk in case of like real gold is lying with the government regulated custodian. So, like all the central banks, they keep their gold on a specific place.
Yeah.
Similarly, if you want to keep a gold, there are custodians available. They are regulated government owned custodians. So your gold is lying into the like a wallet, like
Yep.
custodians, real world, and we tokenize them with the like government regulatory under the government regulatory guidance, and you can move a token around. And they are also launching a very interesting yield product where you need to escrow your gold and they will give you yield on your gold product. Like say you are holding a 5 kg of gold and you want to make something out of that, they
Yep.
will give return on your gold. If you are like keeping it to escrow, they will give you a return.
Okay. That sounds pretty cool. Now, will they also have other types of commodities in the future? Will they branch
Yeah.
into other things?
Yeah, so far gold is one of the standard commodity, and
Okay.
they also like tokenize around 1.5 ton of silver as well. And in future, they are looking for a standard commodity. So basically, technology is available now. If it's depends upon the market demand, if some clients wants to tokenize coffee, they can also able to take care of the infrastructure side or from a technological side.
Now, I also heard, I want to say it was last year, you guys had a partnership with, was it Kinesis Money? Is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah. It's a similar. I think we really appreciate that use case where they also provide a facility. You can top up using your fiat, and you can store inside the gold token, and you can also they also give card on a few countries.
Yep.
And you can spend using your card. You can either top up using gold, silver, or you can top up your card using the fiat currency.
I actually did some beta testing when it first released, and I was checking that out. And you could get the gold and silver, and then once you reached a certain threshold, you could request to get that physically to receive it yourself. I thought that was a cool concept as well. So you're saying that Comtech is working on the same type of technology? Is it for a different region?
Yeah. So Kinesis is like, it's a very similar model with Comtech as well. And even if you have like 1,000 CGO token, and if you need a 1 kg of gold, they can deliver to your place anywhere in the world.
Okay, that sounds crazy. Now, another aspect of the XDC network is something that very few networks are involved in. You guys are ISO compatible. Could you speak on that and what that means for the network itself?
Yeah. So ISO 20022 messaging, it's basically a messaging standard. Now, every banks and a financial institute, they have a mandate to go with the ISO 20022 format of a messaging. The best part is, if you look at this messaging standard, it says your message should flow on a peer-to-peer basis. It should not flow from some centralized agency or from a centralized software. And blockchain already have inherent features of peer-to-peer. And it's basically a certain messaging standard which required to pass messages from one party to another party on a peer-to-peer manner. And Impel Global is one of the innovative use case around this segment, and it's also getting very good attraction from the various financial institutions.
That was a big aspect that I seen with it, was the potential for financial institutions and banks in, say, MoneyGram, Western Union, people that are sending international payments could use that type of technology. You guys also have a partnership with R3. Does R3 tie into the ISO as well?
Yeah, so we have a partnership with R3 where we can move any assets or a document from the R3 Corda network to XDC network. Okay. The reason behind, we are we are very interoperable when it comes to any enterprise use case adoption. So say you are using RC Coda and you are using with 10 or 15 banks. Now we want that message to go outside the R3 network into some public blockchain network. So right now XDC only gives similar bridge. Nobody other blockchain network, they provides a bridge to the public network. So it can be asset, it can be documentation, it can be messaging, it can be anything.
So that theoretically that could be huge for say you're a business owner and you have to send transactions. You saying that you could send a variety of transactions from the XDC network to a variety of banks that are supporting different networks, and it can all be done from your end?
Yeah, so basically it's a bridge, which helps to interact between R3 Coda network and XDC network. They can this bridge can be used for a messaging standard. This bridge can be used to transfer any digital documentation. This bridge can also be used if there is a private token and they want to move it on public network using XDC network. That is also possible.
Okay. Now, earlier you also spoke about XDC 2.0.
Yeah.
What does that mean for the network, for people building on the network, and for the community?
Yeah. So XDC Post 2 is mainly for the security scalability reason. If you look at the white paper which came around XDC Post 2, around second week of March, we are also doing workshop in ETH Dubai event about XD Post 2, where it says more focus towards security and scalability features, like which provides more security, the way the transaction happens. It's provide more scalability in terms of if you want to increase the numbers of validators, if you want to increase numbers of transaction, if you like to give more load and it can able to handle those kind of a loads. So security and scalability is the main feature for XD Post 2 right now. And we are also like doing a minor updates which is required for various enterprise use cases. Like many enterprise, they want to use XDC subnet, but they have a very specific requirement, especially from the financial and banking side. They require certain feature to be added that we are also adding with XD Post 2.
Okay. Now, with that, is that already available, or is that something you guys are continuing to update throughout the year?
Yeah, so it's the update is already available on our DevNet, and we are we already invited master holders and developers to start testing. Once it's run for like 3 months or 4 months, once we are very comfortable with the audit security audit report from the various use case standpoint of from the stability reason, if we are satisfied, then we'll announce date for the testnet. Like we can go to Apotham and then we can go to LiveNet. But right now, I'm not able to give you any right or correct date because everything is depends upon how the testings and audit goes.
Right. So another aspect is, how is XDC developing on layer 2?
Yeah. So see, blockchain, I told you about, initially when we started interview, it's like we have to see the feasibility for layer twos. We don't want we want like layers two to make their own career using XDC network. And we provide lots of support for the layer two side. And I personally involved with many projects. Those are very innovative projects. Like yesterday, there was a Fathom soft launch, which is like XDC collateralize a stable coin, which will help to boost the trade finance industry. And I'm talking to Comtech team, I'm talking to Law Blocks teams. Law Block is where you can store your digital documents on a blockchain, or you can store your MOU or NDA on a blockchain. Right now, it's all digitally centralized way, but here they are going to use a blockchain systems. So
they're using that as a layer 2 on top of XDC network?
Yeah, these all are layer 2s on XDC network. And we built a facility here in Dubai where it's basically we provide them a support to do hackathons, to gather like few team members, and you start with the demo day. We provide them infrastructure to support hackathon so they can present their use case with the VC. They can present their use case with the small number of users, or they can also sit with the developers and see if they have very specific technical requirement, how that can be solved from a technical side as well.
Okay. Now, how is the XDC network working to foster new partnerships? And is there a specific partnership you could see that could bring XDC to the next level?
We are like continuously working with the top banks and a financial institution. They are taking lots of time because it's a long process. But everybody knows that if they want to do anything, XDC is the network where they like to go. And Fathom, they are launching very soon. Basically, it's a C currency group of company which is backed by Wisdom Tree and Street Street. And I see that layer 2 use case can give lots of momentums in XDC network, because the basic baseline asset is XDC. So you have to stake your XDC and you can mint USXD, and you can use with various trade finance use cases, or like any kind of a yield generation which is regulated by the government.
Okay. Are there any other projects that you currently support within the ecosystem?
I think, we support all the systems, all the layer 2's ecosystems, and anything which is building on XDC, we are always here to support from a technical side. We also have a fund setup called XVC Tax, and they also see if they have like long-term sustainable model, They can help you with the proper financing for this project, of course, against the token or the equity. It's like a proper VC firm, and we support mainly all XDC based ecosystems. So we provide funding support, we provide technical support, we provide infrastructure support to test the use cases. Right now, this validation is going around UAE region, and things will work out well. Then we'll expand these infrastructure facilities to US, UK, and other Asian countries as well.
Okay. Now, I want to say it was last week or 2 weeks ago, you released a proposal for the potential of a DAO fin, turning XDC or XinFin Network into a DAO. How could you see the potential for this to transform the network, make it more decentralized? Could you give us a breakdown of what you're looking to do with that?
Yeah, so what I observed, not only I observed, but we are observing that XDC community is very well and matured. Like they never
Okay.
talked about when we are going on the moon, when you are going to a specific exchange,
Right.
and so they always talks about building something new. They always gives a connection, very relevant connection for the traditional world. Uh, and we are thinking a lot, we are talking to so many people about how we can make it's like more decentralized network. Because if I give a right, say one token is equal to one vote, then some whales will come and they will manipulate the decision making. Similar things happening right now, like some of the larger holders, like they are not holding their own token, but they are holding users fund, and they are doing voting on their own favor without taking consent from the community.
Okay.
So we feel like there is a three major criteria. One is a community where community will give their opinion. Another is a masternode holders, because they are already staking something on a networks. They are with the network since a long time. And third is a judiciary committee, which is a team of experts. Like say, if anything related to media and Joshua knows more about media marketing, we can contact them, take his opinion. Like, what is your opinion? If we want to gather 100 people into hackathon and make sure that they are learning something very clearly.
Yep.
Similarly, like if some tech task, we can go to protocol experts, and those who are backers of XDC community, they understand technology very well. They can come and give advice. In XD Post, you require this particular feature, so we can attract more numbers of institutions. So it's a mix of combination, but at the same time, the mission is to make it more centralized, more
Okay.
decentralized, with the community's opinion, with the experts' opinion, with the master's opinion.
Yeah. Now, could you give us 2 to 3 innovative features of the XDC network?
Yeah, so I already discussed about Fathom, which is like very innovative, and it's connecting a real world assets. Other is if you look at a Comtech Gold, like they are like tokenizing real world assets. Third is about law blocks. So basically, they store all the legal and normal documents on a blockchain network. So all these cases, other cases like Impal, ISO messaging standards,
Yep.
helping financial institutions and bank. So there are many use cases available. Those are very innovative on XDC network, and we keep working, to find out which other use case which can change the
Another
people's life.
another use case I want to point out while we're sitting on this topic is LedgerFi and Ledger
Yeah,
Mail.
yeah,
I thought that
yeah,
was a
yeah.
unique aspect that I haven't seen in blockchain yet. Was the ability to use blockchain domains, store the data on a blockchain. I mean, what else do you have? You have plugin nodes. Plugin
Yeah.
nodes, you have the potential to store business data and transfer that on chain. I think that was a cool aspect. So you guys have a variety of innovative use cases that could help launch XDC to a new use case of businesses around the world. And I think that's a very unique aspect that you guys have going on right now.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you. And I like to give a special credit to the community. Like if you are talking about Ledger Mail, we get some suggestion. oh, I'm very tired with this centralized mail. Why don't you work out around some decentralized mailing solution?
Yep.
And we are looking like, we are arranging a hackathon. We are connecting a people that who can build a very robust solution on a decentralized network. And then we came out with this LedgerFi team. They are very like innovative team, and they like get very good numbers of user attraction. So whether it's Impel or whether it's a LedgerFi, whether it's a Storage, whether it's a Comtech Gold, whether it's a Fathom, there are varieties of innovative use cases available on XDC network.
Yep. Now, to close out this interview, is there any last message you would like to give to the community?
Yeah, so I think as I told you, I'm very excited whenever I do interaction with the community. I really like to talk to them because it's a very well matured community, and they always help us on a right direction. So I want, like, I am requesting community to get more closer about all proposal, because we are decentralizing everything, and we want more community like kind of interaction, feedbacks, and comments, so they can help us to make it a very decentralized decision making in future as well. And we always open for feedbacks. If required something from our side, we will try to fulfill those like comments and suggestions. So feel free to come to us, approach us. If anything related to layer 2, related to anything related to network, we are always here to support you.
All right. Well, this is the co-founder of XDC, Ritesh. Thank you for being here today, brother.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Joshua, for having me here. Thank you so much.
Have a good day, buddy.
Bye-bye.